Thanks for coming to j&ntravels podcast with your hosts, John and Nancy.
Hi.
We will discuss everything travel, including cruising, Disney World, other general travel, snowbirding tips, trivia, and other fun things.
I would like to make a special announcement. Most of the comments that we have received are that the majority of listeners prefer an audio podcast opposed to one with a lot of video. The main reasons given are that they like to listen while doing house chores, driving, or walking, which makes a lot of sense. We will slowly be moving over to mainly an audio version. Please put any comments below or email us at j&ntravels@yahoo.com. Thanks for joining us. Each podcast contains 2 segments with travel information. We also have Nancy's Trivia, travel fun facts, and snowbird tips. We have been getting some questions emailed to us and we'll answer one question on each podcast. If interested in sending us a question or making up a comment, email us at j&ntravels@yahoo.com. Please check out our J&N Travels Facebook page, J&N Travels merchandise store, our J&N Travels YouTube channel, and visit our podcasts on YouTube, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and Apple. Our information for everything is listed below. We like to start off each podcast with Nancy's Trivia. Nancy, that's me, will give you the trivia questions now, and she will give you the answers towards the end of our podcast.
It's now time for our trivia, which we like to do to begin each show, Nancy. So, what are your 3 trivia questions today?
Okay, question number 1. Which planet is known as the blue planet?
Which planet is known as the blue planet? This one I think I know.
I know this one as well.
What's the second one?
Number 2. What is a group of crows called? I know this one.
What is a group of crows called? Okay, I think I know that one also. And your third one?
And this one is, I think everybody knows this one. In what year did Christopher Columbus first reach the Americas?
In what year did Christopher Columbus first reach the Americas? Okay, last time I got all 3 wrong. I think I got all 3 of these right. All right,
Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy. And she'll give the answers to these at the end of our podcast. Okay, Nancy, in this segment, we're going to talk about our favorite attractions of Walt Disney World. Now, the caveat on this is that we've done Disney World many times and the parks many times, but this is going to be based more on our most recent 2024 snowbirding because we took trips to the park 40 times. First time we ever had the annual pass. So we have a much better idea of what was good and what was not so good. So why don't we start at the Magic Kingdom? If you want to talk a little bit about the ride, that's fine. But what are your favorite? And we're going to do our top 4 rides in order of the first one mentioned is our favorite down to our 4th favorite. So Nancy, what are your 4 favorite Magic Kingdom rides in order from your favorite to your 4th favorite?
Okay, well, the first one is Snow White. We finally got to ride Snow White, and I loved it, and we rode it multiple times.
Yeah, Snow White was never open before when we
Yeah.
went. That was the first time it was open, and the lines were tremendous, but we managed to get onto it several times in our annual pass, our
Yes.
annual pass. And that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot
It's
of
a
fun.
family-friendly roller coaster,
It
I guess
is.
they'd say, with a
It
little bit
is.
of thrill attached to it.
Yeah, it's great. If you have a chance to ride it, I'd recommend it. It's wonderful. My second one would be Pooh, because that's always a classic for me. I love the Pooh characters. I'm a big Winnie the Pooh fan, so it's got to be Pooh for me.
Yeah, that's a cute one.
Yeah. And this one, I love Thunder Mountain. I think it's a fantastic ride. I think it's better than it was before because it doesn't jerk you around as much.
We first rode it, and
Yeah.
I'm talking, 15, 20 years
Yeah.
ago. It seemed like it was snapping from end to end. It used to
Yes.
hurt your neck and stuff
Yeah,
like
it used to
that.
bother my neck, and this was great. I love it.
Seems
Lot
like
of
they've
fun.
done something to smooth the ride out.
I think they did, yeah. And my third one, or 4th one, I should say, it's Pirates of the Caribbean, another classic.
Another
one.
classic one, yeah. Okay, my 4 favorites, and I have some similar ones in there. My favorite was also the Snow White ride. For the reasons we mentioned, it's just a fun ride.
It is.
Not too scary, but it does have a thrill factor. My second one was Thunder Mountain, which is a little higher than you ranked it, and for the same reason, I think it's a real fun roller coaster. It's fast and it's got some nice turns to it.
And the theming's great. You're going in under a mine, right? You could see the stalactites.
Yeah,
and
they do have some special
yeah,
effects, right?
So it's really cool.
Yeah, good point. My third one is Haunted Mansion, and for the reason that Nancy said Pooh and Pirates of the Caribbean, it's a classic to me. I just always liked it. I probably don't love it as much as I used to because I've seen it so many times, but it's got to go up there as one of my classics. So that's number 3 on my list. And the fourth one, surprisingly, is The People Mover.
Oh, yeah.
I just love on a hot day or a lot of crowds. You can take a little bit of a break and sit
Yeah.
on that and see a good part of Magic Kingdom by driving around on the cars for the
Yeah,
for the
you
People
know,
Mover.
it's relaxing, but it has a little speed to it, so it's kind of nice.
Right. So those are our 4 top Magic Kingdom. All right, so we're going to hop on the monorail, leave Magic Kingdom, Nance, and take the monorail over to Epcot. And what are your 4 favorite rides on Epcot?
Well, I finally got to ride the Frozen ride because 2 years ago when I went to Epcot, I didn't get to ride the Frozen ride, and I finally got to do it, and I fell in love with it and rode it multiple times.
Yeah,
So
that-
that's
that-
my...
Well, that was an interesting one because the first time that was open was when we went with our kids 2
Yeah,
years ago, and they
but
actually waited in line to get on
They
it.
did. They waited over an hour.
We didn't, but we certainly made up for it with about half a dozen rides on it during this time
Yeah.
down south.
I'll never get tired of it. I love the movie. I love the song. So Frozen is number 1 for me. My second one would be Ratatouille. It's just a great ride. You get the 3D glasses, and it's just well done. It's just so well done. I love the movie, love the characters, and the 3D ride is a lot of fun. Rode this several times.
It's funny, Ratatouille is like a lot of Disney's rides. When that first came out, there was a virtual queue. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember that.
Yeah.
And then there were long waits. The waits are not short, but they're a lot shorter than they were a couple of years ago.
And I love Nemo. Again, I love the movie, love the character, love the ride. And my fourth is Soarin'. Even though I'm a little scared of heights, I do like this very much. It's very enjoyable. You can soar over California, and then they changed it up, and you can soar over the world. So we got to do both. So they changed it towards the end of our stay, and we got to soar over the world. So it's awesome.
Stepping back to Nemo, for anyone that doesn't know Nemo, that's a ride that they built that goes through the Living Seas Aquarium. You actually see a combination of animation with the Nemo theme, video, and actually see the aquarium itself.
Yeah.
And they make the characters look like they're in the aquarium. So
Yeah, they
that
do a
is
great
fun
job.
ride, you're right.
Yeah, as Disney does, they do great jobs on all their themed rides.
And you're right, Soarin's quite the ride.
It is. Like I said, I'm a little scared of heights, but I suck it up and I enjoy it.
My list of Epcot, my number 1, which Nancy can't attribute because she did not go on it, was Guardians of the Galaxy. At the time we went down to Florida, both Guardians and Tron were on virtual queues. We weren't able to get on Tron. That's the only ride we weren't able to get on this time. But Guardians, we lucked out one day when our kids were visiting. My daughter got it very early and hounded it until we got one. So we did Guardians. I think it's a great ride. I hope to do it more times once the virtual queue is gone in the future. So that's my number 1. Number 2, like Nancy said, I like Soarin' a lot. We were lucky enough to get the transition of Soarin' over the world with Soarin' over California. So we got to see both of those. I'm trying to think. It started with, when we first got there, was Soarin' over the world, right?
No,
Then
it was Soaring over
so
California, and then they changed it at the
Okay.
end to Soaring over the world.
So we did get to see both on this trip. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed Soaring over California because I've been to California and I thought it was really cool. But after riding it a few times, I was hoping they changed it back before we left,
Right.
and they did.
And the effects are great on that. You actually
Yeah.
do feel like you're up in the air.
You do.
Living with the Land is my third one, and this goes probably for the same reason I did Haunted Mansion. It's an old classic. I was into hydroponics, and I tried doing it at home when I saw the plants being grown. There's something about seeing things being grown.
Yeah, and you learn a lot too. I mean, I never knew all parts of a lily pad was edible. That was always an interesting fact for me.
Well, a lot of flowers and plants they
Yeah.
were showing, yeah. So that's an interesting ride. My fourth one was also Ratatouille. Great ride. And if I had to do a fifth one, it's funny you said Frozen. I would have snuck Frozen in there, but since you only did 4, Ratatouille got the 4th slot.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a great job with Frozen. They really did.
So now, Nance, we're walking out of the back gate on Epcot, and we're walking along the river and heading towards the studio. So we're about to enter the studio. Tell us your 4 favorite attractions, Nance.
Okay, so my first one is Toy Story Mania. You know, I'm not much of a game person, but I'll tell you, Toy Story Mania is so much fun. I mean, my arm hurts me at the end after shooting at all the targets, but it's so much fun, and I try to, get better each time I go on the ride. So it's a challenge for me to up my score each time I go on.
And
it's a lot of fun.
It's a step up from Buzz Lightyear. That was a lot of fun when it first came out
Yeah.
as a game, and this one is a lot better. A big step up from the one over in Magic Kingdom. And your second one?
The Slinky Dog. I finally got to ride the Slinky Dog. I thought I'd never ride it. Last time we were in Disney, we couldn't even come close to getting on this. And this ride is amazing. I love it. I'm not a big roller coaster person, and this is right up my alley. This one, it has a lot of turns and goes up and down, but it's not too scary. It's perfect.
It's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Just enough thrill.
Yeah. And my third one would be Mickey's Runaway Railroad. Such a fun ride, and I think it's going to become a classic.
Well,
don't you agree?
It's a shame that they get rid of the movies.
Yeah, I agree.
In there, but this is definitely a great ride.
They did a
enjoyed
good job,
too.
yeah, with replacing it with this. But I always liked a great movie ride. But I'm a big fan of Mickey's Runaway Railroad.
And your 4 choices, you were
Wow.
telling me, is like a hidden gem. It's not one that a lot of people know about.
Yeah, so they have what's called a Frozen sing-along, but it's more than that. I mean, they have live actors talking about the story of Frozen, and there is a sing-along, and there's a surprise at the end, so I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So I made this one my 4th one because I thought it was very well done.
And we almost didn't see this. It's very deceiving because in Epcot they have Beauty and the Beast
Yeah, they have the
sing-along,
Beauty and the
which
Beast
is literally
sing-along.
a sing-along
Yeah.
on a movie.
Yeah.
This one goes so much further, so don't let the word sing-along throw you. It's a nice little show with a surprise ending, and
Yes.
I think
it
you'll
shouldn't
enjoy
be
that.
missed. It shouldn't be
Right.
missed, yeah.
Okay, so those are your 4 picks from Epcot. I'm sorry, not Epcot, Studios. My 4 picks. Now, there's some cheating a little bit. Nancy didn't put this on hers because this was actually closed for a whole time, the Rock and Roll Roller Coaster. But we're picking our favorites, and this was one of my all-time favorites, if not my favorite in all the Disney parks, the Rock and Roll Roller Coaster. And that's supposed to be open again soon, I think.
Well, it's funny because the last time we went to Disney, which is 2.5 years ago, we couldn't ride Mount Everest because that was closed. And now this time we couldn't ride Rock and Roller Coaster because that was closed.
So we lost one of the big roller coasters each time, yeah.
Each time, right.
My second choice is Slinky Dog, which would have been first if it wasn't for Rock and Roll Roller Coaster. I compare Slinky Dog to Snow White. Very similar ride, just different theming.
Yeah, and it goes up and down like,
Right.
The Slinky Dog, and that's different, so I like that.
So that's a great ride,
Yeah.
Slinky Dog. I have my Mickey's Runaway Railway as my third one also. I thought they did a nice job of converting the theater to the movie ride to a... It's more like it's like a 3D movie almost, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of special effects with both the cart you're riding.
Yes.
And so definitely a must take. And my last one, it was kind of on the fence with this one, but was Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, that is a good one, yeah.
Lots of great theming, good ride. It makes you feel like you're right in the middle of the battle.
Yeah.
The employees who work there play the role perfectly.
They
They're
do.
trying to act like mean guards from the...
Yeah, that is a good one. There's so many good ones to choose from. I forgot about that one. That is a real good one.
So those are my 4 in the studios.
Yeah.
But there are a lot more, too, that we could pick from. Nancy, we're now leaving the studios, and unfortunately there's no exciting boats or monorails or gondolas to get to the Animal Kingdom, so you have to jump on the bus and head to the Animal Kingdom. And what were your 4 favorite attractions at the Animal Kingdom?
Well, first of all, I want to say I absolutely love Animal Kingdom, and I'm not a big roller coaster fan, but I'm a big fan of Everest. I love it. It's a thrill ride. It goes backwards. It's a lot of fun. So Everest is my first.
And that was, like you said, it was closed last
Yeah.
time. So we rode it quite a few
We
times.
rode
this time.
it quite a few times. Yeah, lots of fun. My second one is Flight of Passage. I was a little apprehensive about going on this ride because I didn't want to get, they say if you have, a tendency towards motion sickness, which I do, not to go on the ride, but I did, and I'm glad I did. It was absolutely phenomenal. We've done it several times, and each time is a different experience.
This is the one that they make you think you're on the back of a banshee of the flying birds in Avatar, and it flies over the land with kind of I almost compare it a little bit to Soarin', except you're on a different ride vehicle.
Yeah.
With the way they do this big screen in front of you.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. Don't miss that one either. And of course, my third one, because I love animals, is the Kilimanjaro Safari Ride. I love this. We did this many times as well, and each time you get a different experience. So it's good to do multiple times.
Well, of all the rides, this one you can really say could be different every single time.
Yes, definitely.
The animals dictate the ride, really.
Mm-hmm. And my fourth one would be the Nemo Puppet Show. I think they did a phenomenal job with this show. I really enjoyed it.
And anyone that's familiar with the original Nemo show, this was like a sequel to it. It's part 2, and so it's a little different. So if you've seen the first one many years ago, make sure and liked it, make sure you see this one. It's done with puppets.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
And my 4, which is very similar to you, the top 3 are identical. Everest, we both love. Look, that I'll ride as many times as I can. My second choice on the list second favorite would be Flights of Passage, just like yours. The only reason that's second and not first is because it is a simulator ride. And, any that you get out there in the wind and riding a scary ride is a little different than a simulated ride. But quite the ride it is, I'll tell you that. Kilimanjaro Safari is third on my list for all the reasons that Nancy mentioned. Just animals, and more animals. It's a lot of fun. And my last one, I go with the show also, which is funny. We both picked the show as our fourth one. And I think it's the only show on our list that we picked. No, you picked the...
I picked the puppet show, Nemo Puppet Show.
But you also picked the... No, I'm saying at previous parks, you picked the Frozen sing-along.
Oh, right, yes.
The rest were all ride-type attractions. But mine was a Lion King show.
That's a great show as well.
I like Nemo. That probably would be fifth on my list. But the Lion King, I just love all the action and the acrobats. And I love the Lion King music.
I do. I like the Lion King music as well. But I like the Nemo music, so it was a toss-up for me. But I went with Nemo.
So those are what we recommend. Those are our top 4 rides at each park. Please put a note in the comments below on what your favorite rides are at the park. We'd love to see them.
I hope you get to experience all your favorite rides.
Thank you for joining us. Nancy, it's time for you to share some of your fun facts with us. Which fun facts do you have today?
Bahamas fun fact.
Bahamas? Ooh, that sounds nice. I can picture myself right down there now.
We've been to the Bahamas. I would love to be there right now, too. It's raining here, so Bahamas sound nice. Okay, number 1. It has snowed in the Bahamas. The only time snow was ever recorded in the islands was in January 1977.
So during our lifetime.
Well, the year you graduated high school. So that was good you didn't go on a senior trip.
I know, the Bahamas.
Number 2, the Bahamas is made up of over 700 islands. That one I knew.
I wonder how many of those are inhabited.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find out. Number 3, the Bahamas is home to the planet's third largest Great Barrier Reef called the Andros Barrier Reef.
Andros Barrier Reef. Okay, I've never heard of that.
No, I hadn't heard of that either. So it's the third largest Great Barrier Reef. I would think the Australia one would be the first.
There's one off, I think, off the coast of Mexico or something that's pretty big. I don't know. Your next one?
This is interesting. The flamingo is the national bird.
Yeah, you wouldn't think of that.
Yeah. The Bahamas is a popular Hollywood film site. That's interesting.
Well, I know they did like the Pirates of the Caribbean there.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the other movies, but there's several movies. There was a James Bond movie there.
Oh, I find this very interesting. The third largest wine cellar in the world is found in Nassau.
Okay.
Wow. The Bahamas has a dolphin population that exceeds the number of humans. Woo!
That's number 7?
That's number 7, yeah. Number 8 is the Bahamas is home to the deepest blue hole in the world.
Those are cool. I love to explore one of those.
I would too. Number 9, the Bahamas has more than 300 days of sunshine per year. I bet it's shining
Probably
bright
more than
today.
Florida.
I know. And number 10, the Bahamas is home to the world's largest underwater cave system.
Okay.
Cool. Very, very cool.
I've always loved to explore a cave system, but I'm scared I'd be trapped underneath it,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nance.
Follow John and Nancy from J&N Travels as they snowbird in Florida for the winter months.
Snowbirder's hint. You can park at the boardwalk, or if you're staying at the boardwalk inn, or any of these places along the boardwalk, you can go down the dock here and take these boats, the friendship boats, to either Epcot, or to, which is right over there, or to the studios, which is around the corner. In this segment, Nance, we're going to call it Best Amount of Time to Snowbird. People have always asked us, how long do you snowbird for? What's the perfect amount of time? Of course, we can't answer that totally. I mean, that's up to different people, but we can give a little reference point. Now, we used to go down to Florida, and this will all be based on Florida snowbirding. We used to go down to Florida before we became snowbirds for about 2 weeks. Never enough time, but that's all we had with the kids' schedule and our schedules. Now that with snowbirds, we've done snowbirding now for three off seasons, 3 winters.
Yes, this is our third winter snowbirding. The
But-
winter of 2024 was our third year snowbirding, and it was our longest stay snowbirding.
And so this upcoming winter, 2025, will be our 4th year snowbirding. Now, the first 2 years we did it, it was 3 months long. And like Nancy said, this year we did it for 4 months. You could do 3 months. In fact, we try and recommend to friends of ours that are retired, go down for at least a month. Get away from the winter, go at the peak winter time, and at least get away from it, because we did our research. We originally were looking at Southern California and Texas and Arizona as possible alternatives to snowbirding. But after doing research for 4 years, we found out that it's not warm there. They get their ice storms, and they get their cold weather. The only place that truly stay warm, in our opinion, and by warm I mean above 60 degrees, and I think it reached a peak of 90 on some days, you have to go to Florida.
Yeah, it's the only place where you could actually swim in the winter.
Right.
It was beautiful. I mean, January this year was a little cool, not too bad, but we swam all of February, all of March, and all of April.
And that's the Florida pools tend to be mostly heated, whereas we found if you go places that aren't traditionally thought of as snowbirding, not all the pools are heated. So you get that added to. If it's an off day in Florida, the pool is heated. It's like you said, we swam all the time down there. Now, there's different things I would look at if I was trying to figure out how much time I want to snowbird. We like to go right after the holidays, so we get all the holidays in with family and friends. Then we head down to Florida, and we found out the first 2 winters that we were coming back a little bit too early. We ran into snowstorms in, what was it, March, right?
March, yeah, we ran into snowstorms in March. That was scary driving through that on our way home because we left New Hampshire to avoid the snow. But unfortunately, coming home in March, we hit several snowstorms.
Going down, we take 95, and we hit a couple winters going down because you never know what you're going to get when it started raining and the roads were actually getting icy. And as Nancy said, we like to go inland coming home to avoid the cities, going through the cities. So we're in more mountainous area, and we hit, what was it, 3 snowstorms?
3, yeah.
2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So it gets a little scary and dicey. So we found the perfect thing for us to go as close to the holidays as we can. In other words, the end of December, beginning of January, and not to return till the end of April. And we thought that's probably the perfect time for us. So that's about 4 months. Not everyone can do 4 months. So if you can't do 4 months, I would recommend you try and put it more towards, what's the snowstorms? Probably the end of February, beginning of March, right? In that range?
Yeah, I would say February and March, you're going to get hit with more snow. Seems like January, you don't get hit with too much snow.
Right. And then the end of so if you have to throw together a couple months or 1 month, try and gear it towards the towards the end of February, middle of February to the middle of March, and try and arrange it that way. That way you avoid the severe storms. And you pointed out something also. We went down for 4 months, and that was because one of the reasons was we got our first theme park, Disney annual pass.
That was amazing. I loved it.
And how did the 4 months work out for that?
Well, we were fortunate enough to hit the Festival of the Arts. That went from January 12th to February 19th. And with our annual pass, we really enjoyed all the beautiful artwork. You know, we took advantage of our annual pass and visited Epcot many times while that festival was going on. And the second festival was the International Flower and Garden Festival, which we've always wanted to see. And that was from February 28th through May 27th. And because we were there till April 21st, again, we took advantage of seeing all the beautiful topiaries and, you know, visited Epcot many times to enjoy it.
And the highlight of that, one of our highlights was just listening to the concerts.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing.
So that's a good example. You know, you could probably get away with a month or 2 months or even 3, unless you're doing what we did. We made the decision that we were going to do Disney to death. So you got an annual pass, which is a hefty investment, and use it for 4 months. And like Nancy said, we took in 2 festivals that we had never taken in before. We did the parks. I think we counted 40 times. We did the parks, the festivals, and the parking's included in that. So you save $25 every time you go into the parks
nice.
that you're not spending for that. And we did resort hopping, all that put together. So that was well worth it. We may sit down and do that again in a year or two. This year we won't be doing that.
And we also had time to volunteer for Give Kids the World, so it was a lot of fun. We did the parks quite often, but we also managed to fit in time to Give Kids the World, which we really enjoyed volunteering there. So we had a little of everything, a little of swimming, hanging around with friends that we met at the resort, volunteering, and enjoying the parks.
And the volunteering, it seems like a month or 2 you can still volunteer, but it doesn't work out that way. You get into a rhythm and you enjoy it, and it ends, even 4 months, it ends pretty quick. So yeah, so the 4 months for us was continually used between socializing and doing the retirement thing, volunteer work, and just park hopping. 4 months was great.
Yeah, it was a busy 4 months. It was very enjoyable, and we had a variety of activities, so really enjoyed ourselves, and the weather was beautiful.
So if you can do that, we recommend 4 months, of course. I'd like to go 5th month, but the 4 months I definitely recommend. But even a month is great. If you can do a month and just go down and relax at a resort, just make sure the pool is heated. If you're into the smaller parks like Universal or SeaWorld or Busch Gardens or any of those, you know, you can take those, you can do those in a couple months. We're looking at doing Universal this upcoming winter, which we'd easily be able to get enough time in there in 2 or 3 months.
So I would recommend that you get a hotel or a timeshare or a condo like we did that wasn't too far from the parks, because I think it only took us maybe 7 minutes to get to Epcot.
Well, that was our record, yeah.
That was our
7 minutes.
record, yeah. So you get up in the morning. You don't have to fight too much traffic. If you're close enough to the parks, you can get there within a reasonable amount of time. So we thought that was great. The condo that we rented was very close to all of the parks. So
No,
we
and
were happy about that.
But that's a very good point. If you want to use your time more efficiently, your 1 month or your 2 months or your 4 months, decide what you're going to do before you get down there. If you're going to do theme parks, get a place near the theme parks, like Nancy said. If you're going to explore, which we haven't done yet, we still plan on doing it, the small towns in Florida and do day trips, then get a place that's centrally located to all that. If you're going to use it to do cruises, you know, then you might want to be closer to the port. So you want to strategize and really lay out what's going to work for you so that your time is used the most efficiently. But in summary, I would say do at least a month.
Yeah.
I think any under a month, you're just doing more time driving around and stuff like that.
Yeah, because we were so close to the parks and even close to Give Kids the World, I think that was the farthest we had to drive, was to Give Kids the World. We hardly filled up on our gas.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how much a full tank of gas had lasted us. we didn't fill up that much because everything was so
Well,
close.
and it's another good point, right?
Save money.
If you're talking money wise, the closer you are to a place, the gas was a huge factor.
Mm-hmm.
That's another very good point. The other thing is, if you're like we were with someone, people that had flown there with an airplane, so you're not going to have a car available. So maybe you want to get a place. We had a place that was walking distance to probably 10 different places to
Oh
eat.
yeah. The condo that we stayed at, you could walk to so many places. It was really nice.
So I guess in summary, Nancy, we would stay 4 or 5 months. That's not really legitimate for a lot of people. I would gear towards at least a minimum of 1 month. Some people like to bounce around. They'll spend 2 weeks in one part of Florida, a couple weeks somewhere else, or 1 week. We don't particularly enjoy that. We like to immerse ourselves in whatever area we're in. But for some people, that would work for you. Maybe you spend a month down there, but you spend a week in different areas. You've got to map out exactly what works for you, exactly what you're interested in, and then find a place in an area that suits you.
Yeah, like some people might want to be closer to the ocean.
Right.
Yeah, and we would like to do the ocean, but maybe next year. This year was all about Disney, so we'll see what happens next year.
Pick what works for you, do your research, and let us know how much time you spend snowbirding. As we come to the end of our podcast, Nance, I'm sure people are waiting to hear the answers to your 3 trivia questions.
Okay, which planet is known as the blue planet?
And
What do you think?
I'm guessing it was Earth.
It's
right?
definitely Earth. They have a DVD on the blue planet. Actually watched it on TV. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I saw something on
Yeah,
TV, and that's how I knew it
yeah.
too. And your second question?
What is a group of crows called?
Yeah, is that the murder, right?
Yeah, murder crows. I know,
Murder
it's
of
weird,
crows.
huh?
Yeah, it's very strange. You wonder why they're always looking like evil in different movies and
I
stuff,
know.
right? And your third question?
In what year did Christopher Columbus first reach the Americas?
You know, it's funny with this. To this day, I always remember that
That
saying.
poem
Did you
in
learn?
1492.
Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
That's
and that's
it.
why it's always stuck in my head. 1492. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
those were easy ones.
Thank you very much, Nance. As we get to the end of our podcast, this is usually when we check our email, see if there are any questions, either personal or travel related, from anyone listening. And we usually try and answer one per show. So we still have quite a few questions to go through. So today's question that we picked was, when do you prefer the cruise? What time of year? Do you have a preference? We have a definite preference. You want to
Yeah,
address
we
that first?
like to cruise in the fall. I won't cruise in September, but preferably October is our month of choice.
Nancy has a strict rule: no cruise in September because of the fear of hurricanes.
That's right.
Our winters we usually spend in Florida, so we don't like to do it too close to that.
No.
So that kind of knocks out the winters. Usually the thing, for 2 reasons, works out perfect for us is the fall, and usually the fall's October or the beginning of November. This way we're back in plenty of time to get ready to head down to Florida. But also the biggest thing is, if you go in October, beginning of November, you're going to get the best cruise rates and the best cruise deals. And you're also going to be leaving an area that's getting cold. We're up in New Hampshire, so we're leaving the area that's getting cold to go to an area that's much warmer. So the fall, right?
Yeah,
Basically
the
the
fall.
fall. Thank you. And if you have a question, send it to j&ntravels@yahoo.com. That's j&ntravels@yahoo.com. Thanks for coming to J&N Travels Podcast.